All right, we're recording. Ladies, gentlemen, boys, and girls, it's your favorite show. It is Lessons Learned Along the Way. And today, this week, this episode, we have another special guest. This guest that we have today is a champion of women empowerment. She is a fitness enthusiast, guru, whatever. In that field, she is an entrepreneur, an owner. She owns iamfitish.com, e-commerce business. Today we have Black Girl Magic too. We have Cherron. Cherron, how you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
We're doing great. Cherron, I discovered you online, and I discovered you, via your business. I am Fitish. Do you want to share with the audience how you came up with this business and the journey through your fitness life and how that all came together for even to, first of all, being a person who is dedicated every day to being fit, to even having a business that empowers women in this fitness lifestyle with clothes or just the culture of fitness. So share with us about that.
Yeah, so I was a stay-at-home mom since my kids were born. My oldest is 13. And I gave up my career to raise my kids and be a wife. Well, I am no longer married, but I am still a mom. And one day, my youngest was putting together a Mother's Day tribute in preschool. And her teacher showed me when it was all over with. And one of the questions it was like they asked a bunch of questions about your mom. And one of the questions on the little thing was, what does your mom do for a living? And my daughter answered, laundry.
Wow.
Yeah, and it kind of just opened my eyes. I was like, dang, that's what she thinks of me. Not that that's bad, but I wanted her to think of me as more than just the person who does her laundry. So that's when I just started coming up with ideas of what I can contribute to this world, something that will benefit me and something that other people can benefit from. And I was heavy into fitness at the time. I had just started lifting weights, not just cardio and doing HIIT workouts and stuff like that. And I decided that I am fitish because I like to work out, but I also like to indulge. I like a donut. I like ice cream. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of help promote a balanced lifestyle. So somebody who's into fitness and somebody who also likes to live. So I feel like one without the other just kind of doesn't work. You're just asking for failure if you ask me, honestly.
Yeah.
So that's how I came up with the name. And then I like to look cute in the gym. So I was just like, well, let me make some cute workout stuff. And then it just kind of spun from there. I started doing the booty bands, which really took off. And that's kind of what we're known for now is our booty bands. But yeah, that's how it all started. It was my daughter. She inspired me because she was like, basically, you ain't. I'm kidding. No, but yeah, that's kind of how it got started.
It's a beautiful story. It's a beautiful inception of this idea that finally becomes a brand, and it just starts moving on its own. And even going to the actual page on Instagram, it's popping. You have a whole movement, and even you have dudes wearing your brand too.
Yeah.
So it's manifested and metamorphosized, or if that's a real word, the metamorphosis of your brand from the bands to the apparel to having a whole movement. And that's how I discovered you, through hashtags and maybe the algorithms.
I love it.
And just even moving farther in that, I do love the ideology and the philosophy of fitish, because that really explains and depicts my personality. Because I played college sports, and I've always had an active lifestyle in my whole life. I've always been engaged in exercise since I was 12. And then, with that being said, it becomes part of your lifestyle. It becomes part of your everyday thing. And for me, the big change is when I turned 30 and my body didn't react to food the way I used to when I was in my 20s.
Ain't
And
that something?
right. And like, keeping that 12% and down body fat. Now you go do your physicals and whatever, and they're letting you know now it's 18, now it's this. It's just going up and up and up. And for me, it hit me even harder when I was transitioning to being a father. And also just my recovery got, it's not as good as it used to be, because after a workout, I'm on that bed, I have to get up in the morning, I'm like, yo, I don't know if I still have it in me to go back in there and but anyways, I think that's also, it could be attributed to diet too, but I really would embrace the fetish title, because I am fetish. I I indulge, of course I do indulge, but I feel the word fetish spiritually, because it really does depict who I am. Because I'm not fit, but ish. I could run a mile. I could run a mile. I can lift my weights, but I'm not fit. But ish.
I hear you. It's a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle. It's all about balance.
Just the balance. Yeah, exactly. You saying the balance. The balance of understanding that, creating a habit. And one thing I would accredit to entrepreneurs like you understand the idea of apparel, which I call like superhero garments. Some people don't want to go to the gym unless they're wearing something that is, like a police officer has to wear their police, whatever. An army person has to wear their something. You got to give someone the identity that they're going to work out. And if you make that identity, like that superhero outfit, cool, they take ownership in their actions. And I think that's me thinking outside the box of, why do I need cool like basketball sneakers? Because I want to bowl out. Why do I need these fly ass cleats? Because I want to juke and play, So it's the same thing as fitness. If you study the science of fitness and you're like, okay, the first thing is make them feel good, make them look good, and they'll perform good. So you're in that business, and it's a psychology thing, but it's also a feel good thing, So like, yeah, big props to you. Moving on farther, let's talk about your life prior to fitness, right? Prior to having this brand, prior to even you having the babies, right? What, like, like, now go back to that mind state, right? When you were that time frame, right? The mind state that you were in. Like, what would you envision what's happening right now? And let's erase out 2020, because we are all not envisioning this. But let's say 2019. Would you envision like what would you see Cherron of 2019, 2020? Like, who was that person?
Would I have seen this, is what you're saying?
Yeah. Did you
like back then? No. To be real with you, before kids, like I was married for 14 years, and I gave up my career to be married to a Marine. We travel a lot. I was a cosmetologist. It was really hard for me to lay down roots when I moved every 3 years, or get a clientele, because we moved every 3 years. So I just kind of gave it up, because I was having to keep up my license in Texas, and California just became more expensive than what I was making, because like I said, I didn't have the time to build a clientele to work my business back up. So I gave it up, and I moved around the world, around the US with him. So I really had before kids and all that, I was focused on my career, and that was it. Honestly, at one point in my life, I didn't think I wanted kids. Now I got 3. But yeah, my gears shifted, my mindset shifted big time. But yeah, before then, I was just so focused on doing hair. And it's so funny that you talk about that, because the reason I wanted to do hair is because I wanted to make women feel beautiful. Because I grew up very insecure and not feeling pretty, but I realized when you feel kind of cute on the outside, you really reflect on the inside.
Right.
So a lot of people can see how beautiful they are on the inside by just realizing how, or seeing how cute they are. I know it's superficial, but that's how we work. You know what I'm saying? That's why when you wear the cute clothes to the gym, you perform better. It is what it is. So yeah, when I got into fitness and wanted to empower women and inspire women, it's kind of the same deal. Like I wanted women to feel strong and powerful. And a lot of times I would go into the gym and go into the weight area and men would look at me like, what are you doing here? You know, like go over there to the cardio. I even had a guy tell me that one time.
Wow.
I was in the wrong section.
Wow.
And I was like, what?
That's wrong.
Right. But it took me a couple months, but after a couple months, he was curling 15s and I was curling 20s. So
wow. I mean,
and I would do it right beside him too.
I mean, like anything that requires training, it's always wrong for you to somewhat like analyze in your mind where they need to be placed, like having a mental placement and like, okay, you just first time in the gym, start off here, because I know from where I'm from, I know some naturally strong people, like never worked out. They you throw them like 20s, they're like, what are these? And it's just, I mean, like the body's a very mysterious thing. Each of us have different bodies, right? Whether it's form, how we develop muscle, how we digest food, even how we exude brute force, like lifting and all this stuff. So just any man looking at a woman and naturally thinking like, okay, I need to pull the 45 plates off that bench and clean it, you know, so because she's gonna start off on some 25s. It's kind of like misogynist a little bit.
Oh yeah, big time.
And also like judgmental, because you don't know, even if she's 135 pounds, you don't know her output. You don't know that, which again, it's and I also understand why, because in some cultures it's gentleman like to make life easier for, you know, the opposite sex. So you always want to like lift the weights off the rack. You want to clean it up, you know, cleaning up. Of course, you need to do that.
Absolutely.
By the way, that's my new project here in my house. I'm building a home gym because ever since a baby, I don't want to go in community gyms just because I just don't know. And I don't like waiting for weights. But that's me. I don't like waiting for my machines. And I only like working out for like 45 minutes. And I thought it would be functional if I switched which I was doing, switch my basement into a gym. But anyways, moving back to what you were saying about how you were profiled, and then within the few weeks of being there, or a month, or the period of time that you were there, you were advanced more than the person that was kind of subjugating you. I like that. So originally, what city are you from? I know you've traveled quite a bit, but what city are you originally from?
I was born in Chicago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then I lived there till I was about 9, and then we moved to California for a minute. And then the rest of my childhood I spent in Austin, Texas.
Wow. So Chicago, huge city.
Yeah.
Huge city. Beautiful city. I hate how the news pictures it the other way, but that's one of the most beautiful cities in the nation of the United States. So California for a little bit, and then Austin.
San Jose. I lived in San Jose for like a minute. And then we moved to Austin.
Austin, Texas, which is also exponentially growing.
Oh my God. I don't even recognize it when I go back.
It's expensive to live out there now because of all the tech moving over there and stuff that's happening. But it's a different version of Texas, really. Like it's like liberal Texas. It's weird being in Texas and then Austin, which is
like it's not a part of Texas.
It's just different. So what was it like growing up in these three places, and how did it form the person that you are today? Like, just share with us about that.
Ooh, that's a good question. I feel like Chicago made me tough. Okay. Like, a lot of people think I'm real sweet, and I am, but like I'm tough. Like, I'm tough, thick-skinned, Don't cry a lot. I used to fight when I was growing up, like, and a lot of people think because I'm little, like I'm tough. Okay, I'm tough. So I think Chicago did a lot of that for me. And then growing up with my family there, obviously is a blessing, especially my kids are military kids. They didn't get to grow near family. So that was a blessing. I didn't realize that. And then in Austin, I feel like, I don't know. I'm so far removed from it.
Was it more like, and I will let you know, Chicago is one of the most separated cities in form of like, it's not a lot of integration in Chicago, to say the least.
No.
You'll be in a place and it's only Black people.
Mm-hmm.
And Austin is kind of different.
Right. Okay.
So like,
yeah.
just coming from Chicago, and I don't know where in Chicago you grew up from.
Southside.
Oh, so wow, Southside. So that's more integration. More.
Right.
What's the word? Not integration is when they come together. What's the word? Discriminated. I don't know.
Segregated.
Segregated. Sorry, segregated.
Yeah.
So like Chicago, I know it for that because the Black people are here, the white people are here, the Hispanic people are here. It's very divided. It's a very divided metropolitan city.
It really is. Yeah.
And then Austin is just
super.
It's just everything. Yeah. So how was that transition? And I know you're only 9, and maybe you don't even understand this type of integration. You probably won't even understand. I didn't know racism, or I didn't know about being different because I grew up in Africa. Of course, I grew up in Uganda.
That's so
till I was like 19. I was always around Black people.
Mm-hmm.
I was around Africans. The only difference was tribal. Yeah, Africa is very tribalist. It's very tribal. It's a country of, it's a continent of tribes. People think it's a country. It's tribes. So these tribes live in this area. So that's what I knew is you speak a different language than me. That makes you different. But we all look alike, which is weird.
Right.
For me to compute that, it was so hard because I was programmed to speaking English from the age of 5. So I I could communicate with anyone. So I never really saw division till I came to the United States, and I knew it was a thing. Like, okay, we are different, and knowing about the history of Black people, being brought into this country not on their will. So I'm just also thinking, how would you how would your brain compute the idea of moving from Chicago South Side to Austin, Texas? Weird.
Well, I had like a buffer. I had that little buffer with California.
California, okay.
Yeah. So my mom ended up getting married to this guy, and he was well off. So we lived in a neighborhood that wasn't. There were some Black people, but there wasn't a whole bunch.
Right.
So so I had like a buffer, if you will.
A little introduction.
Right. So when I moved to Austin, I feel like I was excited just to get to know people. That's just me. So there I am, social butterfly, just getting to know everybody. I had an Asian friend, a Hispanic friend, a white friend, you know what I'm saying? It was just I don't remember it being like a thing. So yeah. I don't remember feeling like a thing. I don't know, maybe that's just my personality.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Right now, these are the times where you reflect on your upbringing and you start to notice subtle stuff and nuances and maybe TV programming to who was put, to the different social engineering things that you saw growing up. Because when I just like you, I didn't notice.
Right.
It was just, I'm just like, but right now it's with politics, with what's in the news, with what's in, it does draw the line a little bit more and kind of show you like, I'm paying attention. But anyways, moving away from that, the reason why I bring up these topics or these ideas is because our podcast is lessons learned along the way. The whole idea is to reflect and to educate. Especially, I try to speak to the young version of me. You
I love
know,
it. Mhm.
because I'm at this point, which I'm nowhere where I want to be, right? But I'm at this point, and I do want to right my wrongs through informing the younger people, even the older people, via my the things that I saw that were my trials and my tribulations, both of them, and it's the balance of life, and that's why I
Yeah.
want like successful people like you, people doing great like you. I want you to like show that that duality, that it shows because it humanizes who you are rather than this
Right.
amazing entrepreneur on Instagram or this amazing workout guru on Instagram. You have to show that people
Wait,
people
that
do,
ain't me. That
but you
ain't
know what I
me
mean. You know what I mean.
anyway.
But you know what I mean. People want to hear the story because that's
Right.
when you that's when you pull in real fans. That's when you pull in real clients because they have to know your inception, your genesis.
Yeah.
They have to
get it.
know, and that's when they you get followers forever because they understand you. Okay, let's move away from the digging and trying to find out who Cherron is. Let's talk about let's talk about passions, which I'm still digging. But anyways, what are your passions
Right.
besides exercise? Exercise and fitness and women empowerment.
So it's funny. A really good friend of mine asked me this the other day because we were trying to figure out what I like to do for fun besides working out. And I could not answer. Besides taking care of my kids and working out, I think I need a hobby because I like to shop.
Did
I
you,
mean, I
did,
do.
did,
I like
did you hear what
cooking,
you
I
just
like
said?
painting.
You just
Huh?
heard what you said. Taking care of your kids, that's like full-time job right there. I mean, where do you get time to? I mean, I'm impressed. 3 kids and then you work out. So I have one, and I barely have time to podcast. Like,
Well, my kids are older. So I have a 13, an 11, and an 8. So,
yeah.
you know, they're a little older, but, you know, so I get a little more leeway, if you will.
Mm. So like,
But,
sorry.
oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, keep going.
I was just going to tell you what brings me peace. I like to cook. I like to clean. I'm so boring.
Yeah.
I like to cook and clean and work out and hang out with my kids.
Now I'm gonna let you know, 13 is only like 8 years away from 21.
I know.
When they leave the nest, mama needs to have some real hobbies.
I know.
Some real hobbies, not just helping me with homework. Some real hobbies, and
Right.
and it's a real thing. We never talk about that. The babies live in a nest type of depression that some parents do go through because they have to rediscover who they are after
Right.
18 years of this service that they've been doing, from like routine, structure, practice, this, that, and now you really have this time. It's like an athlete doing these sports, city to city, touring, whatever, and then now you can't do any of that because you're retired. Now you find something to do. You've been doing it for 20 years.
So that's something I'm working on. I'm working on that currently.
I mean, you have time. You have time, though. You have time.
Right. Finding something that I enjoy other than, because like I said, my free time, I come to the gym.
But at least you have cosmetology. You had a life prior to your kids.
Oh, yeah.
I know some people that have been parents since they were teenagers, my friends, and I'm like, bro, you're a full time. Like every time when they hear daddy, I'm like, yo, there's gonna be a time when that sound won't happen, and you'll be like, God, I wish I had that, because
Oh, yeah.
now
All
you
the time.
just
I think about it all the time.
Yeah, but some people are ready for that because they're ready to travel the world. They're ready to do stuff. They're ready to, act like 20-year-olds in their 40s.
I get it. Not me. I'm like hanging on.
Yeah. But again, it's a dude I'm talking about, because moms have that nurturing where if they're not nurturing and taking care of something, some moms,
Right. Yeah.
it's kind of like they lose their purpose. So transitioning to purpose, right? So evidently your purpose is empowering women and also
I feel,
being a mom?
mhm.
Aside from well-being, which is fitness, but like, would you expound upon when you discovered your purpose in these areas? And I'm speaking for you because you're already explaining to us your purpose by just this conversation. Am I wrong? By the way, correct me if I'm wrong.
No, I feel like that is my purpose.
Okay,
Yes.
so expound upon those.
I find the most joy when I am helping somebody. Um, with that said, I feel like that is my purpose. So whatever you find the most joy in doing, I feel like that internally is your purpose.
Yeah.
Whatever that thing might be. So I feel like I did have an experience years ago where I was raped and mentally jacked me up, right? So being in the gym helped me not only overcome that mentally, but physically as well. Like if somebody came at me now, like they might do some harm, but I'm gonna also do some harm. You know what I'm saying? I'm stronger. So I feel like women just, I feel like there's a lot of times when we should speak up or stand up for ourselves or for somebody and they choose not to because they're scared. And I felt like I found myself in positions like that several times. Like I said, I'm really tough. I got a smart mouth. I'm quick with my mouth. But there are times when I regress because of fear. And I feel like that was like an eye-opener for me. I was like, no, we're not doing that ever again. So that's kind of what pushed me into the weight room, to be honest with you. And then it just kind of pushed me to want to help women to do the same. And that's why a lot of people are real off-put by my whole women's brand. Like, why don't you make clothes for men? And I do, but I am about the women because of my past and my experiences. Right. It's nothing to do with anti-men or anything like that. It has everything to do with what I've come from, what I've stepped out of, and what I've overcome. And that's it. Like it's, you know, so I do get a lot of pushback about like men's clothes and men's product and everything like that. And I love a man just as much as I love a woman. It just has to do with, and it is my purpose to inspire and encourage and uplift and empower women. I've always felt that way. Even when I was younger, I would be the one you could come to, the girlfriend you could come to, you know, talk about it. And I'm always encouraging, because I believe it. Like, I believe you can be whatever you want to be or do whatever you want to do. So I feel like it's been my purpose, and I've known that for a long time.
Yeah.
So stepping into it is just very, I don't even know the word I'm looking for. Stepping into it has just been very empowering to myself, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like a full circle. You empower, you get empowered. I don't know.
I mean, that's heavy. I'm talking to the gentleman. We need to protect our women. I mean, we absolutely need to protect our women. Very many is a time where we hear stories such as the one that you shared with, you know, friends, families, sisters, you know, cousins that have gone through that trauma. It's a real trauma. And these are things that you cannot erase out of your mind. And it can affect you in very, very negative ways.
Right.
But it's amazing how you've switched that negative in a way of empowerment, because now you want to, I mean, it may even just be something of like, let me build my confidence and my strength by going in there because I felt helpless in this situation. But my apologies and I'm really sorry that you had to go through that trauma.
It's made me who I am, honestly. It's made me who I am.
But I would never want that to happen to you to become who you are. Because I wouldn't want that to happen. Oh God, I wouldn't want that to happen to my daughter, my sister.
Right.
Like it's just I don't want them to learn. I don't want it to be a teachable moment by being raped, you know, or
Right.
being harassed, or like it's heavy. It's heavy, and you're a living like lesson, and like you just how you could switch that negative. That I know women in my life that have gone through that are forever scarred. You
Right.
know, it's affected even their dating life. Like, you know, it's heavy.
Right.
But yeah, you still showing them that there's stuff to do. There's therapy, there's working out, there is, you know, man, I can't even really speak because I'm not a lady and I've never been in that type of situation, but I can only imagine. I can empathize. Um,
Right.
um, moving from your purpose, right? We've talked about your women empowerment purpose. We've talked about your fitness lifestyle. Let's talk about motherhood, like parenthood.
Mhm.
You have three beautiful angels, three beautiful babies,
Yeah.
and you've been in this parenthood game a lot longer than I have. I want to ask you for advice. This is my lessons learned. Okay, this is your lessons learned to me, which is I'm picking something from your tree, right? I'm
Okay.
raising I'm raising a daughter,
Hmm.
and I've never felt emotions that I felt when I was in that room when she was being delivered. I'm not an emotional person at all,
Hmm.
but I was crying. I was in my,
Would you cry in?
yeah, I was, and I'm not people will tell you if they know me, I'm not emotional at all. I'm very expressive.
Uh-huh.
I'm very direct.
Hmm.
I'm also one thing I do have though. I'm empathetic though. I have a lot. I've always had empathy. That's weird. I have,
That's like you're describing me right
but
now.
I'm very direct. I'm very direct,
Uh-huh.
and I don't like. I don't. I don't lead with my best foot. I always show you. I'm always flaws first. Like see my mistakes first, and maybe you discover what I'm good at. Right. So this is the
Same.
personality having a daughter,
Right.
and some weird key was just put into my brain and my heart, and I felt weird emotions. I
Hmm.
never felt these emotions in my life.
Hmm.
And she channeled, I don't know how she triggered these emotions and how they were projected. I don't want to say how they were projected and how I was looking. I want to do a depiction of, you know, tears running down my eyes, but I was all sorts of fucked up
Right.
when holding her. And, I just had like a weird life flashing of my whole timeline of being a kid. I never had that happen in my life where I think about when I was a kid. I never ever been reflective in my life of like me. What was I doing at 5? By holding him, like, okay, when I was 5, what did my parents do? This, and this, and this. And I started seeing things that were kind of messed up in how I was raised, or kind of dope in how I was raised. In like, this is like 5 minutes of holding this little girl. I just don't know if it's a normal thing.
Oh yeah.
But this is from my father's side. But from my mother's side,
Hmm.
it's a little different because it's just so much you guys are going through that period. But I've never felt like that, and now pulling back 7-8 months later, I am scared. Ever since I had a
Yeah.
child, I have fear. I've never had fear, but
Right.
now I have fear.
Right.
I have a little bit of anxiety too.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen, and it's a crazy time to be raising a kid. So that doesn't help the situation. But my advice for raising a girl with your personality,
Or even
which
a
is much,
boy. I may have. I don't know. We go even.
well, raising kids, which is, you have a very similar, what you explained, very similar personality as myself. So I feel like it's a strong personality. Um, what I've learned is that I am going to make mistakes,
Right.
but through those mistakes, I have to learn to apologize to my kids when I'm wrong.
Right.
And that is probably one of the hardest things I've ever done, is to admit to my child that I was wrong. Your mom, who you think is this whatever, was wrong. And I apologize and I'm sorry. And I'm working on that, or whatever the case might be. When they see me dealing with other people, whether it's them or other people, you know what I'm saying? When I am wrong in front of them, I apologize.
Yeah.
It's very humbling, but it also shows them to not put me on that pedestal.
Absolutely.
That I'm human. And I don't think I got that growing up.
Absolutely. You hit the nail by the top of the head right there. Teaching, it's a teachable moment in everything that we do with our kids. I believe. I'm not advanced to have a child that is rational or reflective. Right now, she's very dependent on nurture, love, hugging,
Right.
feed me, change me. But if we get to that level, me approaching and showing her my humility, because I am her superhero, I'm her dad. If our superhero can show humility, then she could embrace that humility and apply that in life, because guess what? We are all not perfect.
Right.
So I think it's a teachable moment. And you saying that this practice was never done, or you never experienced that type of practice when you were a child, because a child stays in their place. Grown people are always right type of idea, or
Absolutely. And I still, a child, to me, a child will always, my kids know their place. They do. But
you bring that Chicago in the parenting.
Yeah. But at the same time, when I do make a mistake, I do sit them down and look them dead in their eyes and tell them, I'm sorry. I should have done it this way. I'm sorry you had to deal with that or whatever. I'm sorry I didn't listen to you when I was in your face the other day and didn't hear your side. Whatever the case might be. They know. So
Cherron, as a mom who has, how old is your daughter? About 10? 9?
She's 8.
8. Okay. What's the ideal personality or the ideal keys and tips you'd give a man raising a daughter in order to because I know, I'll be honest, the women that I dated in my life that had fathers had a different level of confidence, had a different level of problem solving and conflict resolution, and it was never F you, I don't want to talk to you again. It was more like, okay, let's talk about it, because they grew up with that. And that's my goal. My only goal is to make sure that my daughter, until I have a son, I guess. I don't know. I'll have more daughters, I guess. Understand how a proper man should act, and what are the things that a man should take out of their life in order to be a perfect example for their daughter?
I would say just showing her what a man is supposed to be. I have this story. A really good friend of mine, she's like a sister to me. Her daughter is older than my kids. And one day they were over our house, and her daughter's very beautiful, stunning little girl. Adult now, but whatever.
She's listening to this. She's like, little girl.
Right. She was outside playing with my neighbors because they were over my house, and I was outside, and this little boy, very cute little boy, came up to her. I want to say they were like 12 at the time. Came up to her and was like, "You're really cute. You're really, really pretty." And she looked at him and she was like, "Thank you." And he was like, "Did you hear me? I said you're really, really, really pretty." And she was like, "Yeah, thanks. My dad tells me every day." Period. And she walked away. I was like, there it is. She wasn't impressed by his words. You know what I'm saying? Her dad tells her every day. She didn't need to hear that from you. Whereas another little girl might have been like, I'm pretty, you think I'm pretty? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
homegirl was like, okay.
Yeah. You know
My
what's
dad
crazy?
tells me every day.
You know what's crazy? I think even little boys need to hear that because,
Mhm.
and I'm not talking about myself. I mean, even my culture is a little different. Like we never ever got words of affirmation being thrown to male because your words of affirmation, suck it up, take pain, get up,
Yeah, yeah.
you got a chin, he could take a punch type of things. Those are words of affirmation, but it was never like, you know what, you have a good heart. I never ever heard that until I got into a relationship with people that were raised. I was never raised around empathy. I don't know how I discovered it. I'm an empath. I've always been like that. I don't know why. In my family, they probably look at me as weird, but I'm the weird one. I'm the one that feels stuff, but I feel stuff in private. I don't let them know. I'm not a vocal empath, right? Empath meaning if I have a relative that needs something, if they talk to me in a certain type of way and trigger that empath, I'm giving them everything I have. Even if I don't have anything to pay for my bills, you could have that. Because I feel like I'm a hustler. I'll find a way. They need it, right? The only problem about being an empath is you get got too many times. You get got too many times because in some places they look at you as a sucker. Like, oh, it's a sucker, it's a sucker. But anyways, long story short, what I'm trying to say is boys need that too. You raising two boys, right? Because we all raised up in a way to suppress how we feel. Whether you're an empath, you never should supposed to show you're an empath. Because in sports, you don't lift up your opponent after you tackle them. Walk over them. Do the Iverson step over and embarrass them. While for me, I'm like, man, I don't want to, like when you're a kid, hit them. I'm like, I don't want to hurt no. I was always that kid, but because of society, I ended up playing sports that were like in the hurt business, where it was rugby and your peers celebrated you putting a punishment, whether I know related to football, tackling, and it was not about empathy. It was just, okay, we'll leave it all on the field and then we can shake their hands after. You're not supposed to shake their hands on the field, but I think that's also breeding of grown man emotions and how you handle and navigate life. And how grown men will handle and navigate life will also include how they'll navigate life with your daughter if they decide to create this. A lot of us lack that emotional intelligence, especially us guys. While it's socially acceptable for a woman to embrace that emotional intelligence because that is a woman thing. For a guy, you're supposed to suppress that for some weird reason and deal with it later and, just deal with your feelings in the dark and not talk to anyone. And that's why you have a lot of depressed people depressed dudes that don't even know how to express themselves rather than to yell and to be verbally abusive because they never have this way to talk and communicate and have this healthy thing. So I know I'm going on a long talk.
This is good.
I'm just saying, like, if I ever had a son, one thing I'll let them know is, hey, it's okay to be you. It's okay to be. If you don't like violence, it's okay not to like that stuff. It's not a boys thing. It's okay not if you don't like guns. It's okay. Just be who you are and embrace who you are.
Right.
And maybe let's build on that. Let's look at another person, whether it's a woman, whether it's a man. Look at them as an extension of you. How would you want to be treated? Don't just, everyone is an extension of you. You're not a single person. You're not the tallest person. Everyone is an extension of you, whether they're tall, they're short, whether they, whatever race, creed, religion, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Just look at everybody as an extension of you and maybe emotionally healthy. Healthy future, because mom, forgive me, MFers out here are emotionally starving.
It's sad.
They lacking. Not malnourished is the word. In malnourished, they only have two emotions. It's hysteria or depression, or one of the it's either up
Right.
here. Yeah, it's crazy. But anyways, we're talking about raising kids. I always think about stuff like this, and that's what raises my anxiety, because now I know
Yeah.
weird things. I notice, like, why did they tell me to do this as a kid? Why
Right.
why did I listen to this music when I was a girl?
All right. Right.
Stuff is horrible. Like, it's degrading women. It's degrading. It's doing this. Like, this was my stuff. But anyways, that's all based on growing up and learning, and these are my lessons learned. And thank you for sharing that about how to raise a daughter. We're coming to the conclusion of this episode, but we finish this off by, first of all, asking our guest, what was the last book our guest read? Or if you're not a book person, to say movie.
Last movie. Look, I'm gonna make a point to start reading, like, for real.
Okay.
The last movie I saw, full movie. I watched Black Panther the other day.
By the way, R.I.P. Chadwick.
Right.
I forgot about it. I forgot to say.
Yeah, it just made me. So it's so funny. My daughter was asking to watch Black Panther before he passed. She never wants to watch that movie. She's like, "Can we please watch Black Panther?" She asked me like 2 days in a row. And I was like, okay. And then he ended up passing. It was so crazy. I was like, dang, okay. So we watched Black Panther. I watched it again after. I don't know. That's my favorite Marvel. So yeah. That's the last movie I watched. I am going to start reading. I've been saying that for like a year, but I'm serious.
There you go.
I'm gonna start reading.
I mean, like, you always, like anything, if we always update our phones, and then when they ask you to update, we always have to update our minds too.
Absolutely.
And updating our minds is not reading the news, not Hollywood Unlocked or
right
room or whatever. All that stuff is just distraction and just noise. Definitely, I would say it's not only just about reading. Get a documentary, or you're doing good if you're doing movies. At least something that gives you this escapism that will challenge you to think.
Right.
I mean, not just fluff. I guess we have a lot of fluff.
Right. You're right.
That just is filler and just time waste. It's there to time waste and keep you make you feel like you're staying busy, but you're not. Second question: what new tricks, trades, things that you've learned during this pandemic time where we were all down, or cooking stuff that you've learned?
Oh, well, fitness related.
Okay.
I didn't discover, but I really put into use because I didn't have a lot of weight to work with at home when I was working out. So I put into use the whole mind-body connection, like how you can really work a muscle harder just by
thinking,
connecting the mind to the body and that specific muscle that you're working. That was dope because, like I said, I only had bands and limited weight, so it was kind of dope to really get a muscle worked with 20-pound dumbbells, whereas in the gym I was using 100 and something.
Wow.
But I was sore, felt good, felt worked because I was implementing the mind-body connection. So that was dope. Because you teach that to people, but you don't necessarily do it because you don't have to. But I really had to, so it was kind of dope to put that into place.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's been another dope episode of Lessons Learned. We had the amazing Cherron in the house. Thank you, Cherron, for your time, for sitting down with us virtually. I know you're at the gym. I'm hearing weights being thrown up and slammed down. Well, I appreciate you for your time.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Well, we definitely need to sit down and talk again, in depth about your company. When you have something to sell, please use my platform to promote it.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. And we are out.